where sports truly meets that thing called life. Happy to be here with you here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and thank you so much for tuning into the broadcast here inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios. Very much appreciate having you here inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios with 5 locations throughout Central and upstate New York. You could get to them inside of Syracuse on 3501 James Street, as well as 324 West Water Street, 208 North Townsend Street, and 401 South Salina Street. You can connect with Cafe Kubal, as well as their newest location on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York. So definitely get yourself out there and have some fun at Cafe Kubal, and proud to have them here with us inside of the studios. And I fill my cup with chai. You could fill it. I love their chai. I mean, their base flavor of chai and everything they put in it is fantastic. And then you add in pumpkin, or you can add in mint, or whatever it may be, whatever the season may be. And there's some awesome stuff that they give you when you're at Cafe Kubal when it comes to their chai. It's second to none in my opinion. That's why I always get it, and I appreciate it so very much. So you can get whatever you'd like today, and of course the light roast, the dark roast. They have their new Cafe Kubal boxes that have a little bit of everything in there. Just really cool stuff that they're doing for the community. They have apparel that you can get now. Their chocolate chip banana bread is incredible. So there's a lot of great stuff to connect with there at Cafe Kubal, and we hope that you do so. Inside of these Cafe Kubal studios, we have your list of topics for the day, proudly brought to you by MaandPazPopcorn.com. You can go to MaandPazPopcorn.com and use the promo code DT20 and get 20% off. That's here in the community or anywhere in the United States. So if you use the promo code DT20, you can have it shipped to you anywhere in America, and you'll get 20% off on me. So go to MaandPazPopcorn.com, pick your favorite flavors today, and get 20% off by using the promo code DT20 at checkout. We have our trio of topics today, as we always do every TGIF, and that is the annoying moment of the week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt, which will be coming up in a second, which has to do a little bit why we're back here in starting at the broadcast this morning. So we'll talk about the annoying moment of the week in just a second. I have a couple of those for you, and I call them 2 scoops essentially because it's brought to you by Carvel DeWitt. So we'll have the annoying moment of the week first in just a moment, and then we'll get into Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-lib, and Deliver, and that proudly presented by Chick-fil-A Cicero. And I will have my co-host Juanita Ward here with me today. The acronym Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-lib, and Deliver here with you every single Friday show right around 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And Juanita and I will be talking today about how one conversation can change a life. The power of a conversation. We'll be talking about that today. And then we'll get into the top dog of the week, and I'll spotlight someone this week and make an announcement on who our top dog is going to be. That'll be coming up to you at a little bit after 10 a.m. Eastern Time today, and so you'll be able to hear that, proudly presented by Canine Kampground Dog Boarding and Canine Camp Dog Daycare. So they'll be announcing the top dog of the week, or presenting that with you, and then we'll finish off today's show at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time with my good friend and Syracuse Orange Basketball alum, Mr. Sonny Spera. And those of you that know Sonny on social media, you know he's all about positivity. And so not only will we talk about Syracuse's basketball season, but we'll also talk about positive reinforcement, inspiring thoughts, and words. So today's broadcast all about inspiring, all about positivity, and all about bringing us together and helping us to see, what's maybe right in front of us. And that is something that we do on every show. But we'll definitely have some awesome conversations with Juanita Ward as well as Sonny Spera to, just continue to bring you that positivity today, no matter how your day is going, and hopefully bring you some clarity, some faith, some comedy, some humility as well. So a lot of fun coming up on the broadcast today with Juanita Ward and Sonny Spera, as well as with the annoying moment of the week and the top dog of the week. So without further ado, it's time to bring you the annoying moment of the week, which has to do with this morning and also has to do with this week in general. So the annoying moment of the week, for those of you that don't know it, you'll get to know it. It is the longest standing segment on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, And it's a favorite thing of mine to be able to do every single week. So without further ado, I proudly bring you the annoying moment of the week, presented by Carvel DeWitt on 4322 East Genesee Street in DeWitt, New York. It is what happy tastes like.
Dan Tortora proudly brings you...
Is that for real? Are you kidding me?
The annoying moment of the week.
I really honestly, I don't know how to respond to this.
Presented by Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street. It's what happy tastes like.
You have to be that crazy. I guess so.
The annoying moment of the week for this week, I have a few of them. And I guess I'll start with technology. I'll start with the technology side of things. Routine saves, obviously recording stuff in the studio and having to save stuff and whatnot. Having those, that should be an easy thing. It's something I do every day. Well, I try to convert something from mono to stereo in my studio, and it was saying I can't the computer was saying I can't handle this has to be converted, it has to be changed, and then I just saved it under a different name and it worked fine. But I've been able to overwrite stuff before, and now the computer's like, yeah, I'm going to have an issue overwriting this. And, you get into a situation, and for all of us that use computers, which I would venture to say that the majority of us do at this point, in the history of America, because I think in most jobs you kind of have to at this point in some way, shape, or form, to use computers and to have these computers kind of we get that set it thing in our brain, and then we kind of just go through the motions sometimes, right? We set something up, we know what it's supposed to be, we go into the computer, it's boop boop boop, and there we go. And that's what I'm used to. When I'm editing, I can kind of almost shut my brain off when I'm editing, because I know what I have to do. I know, how things have to go and all of that. So I kind of just set it and go with it. And when I was editing this morning, I had to sit here and figure out what was going wrong. Then I had to change it. Then I had to move it over, which obviously, affected timing and whatnot. And that gets frustrating. I don't like that stuff. Right? I like when things just work and they do what they're supposed to do. And sometimes computers are kind, and sometimes they are not. Sometimes they don't make any sense. I went to log into something that I have, and I have a lifetime license for it. And it said, your license expired. And I was like, my license of a lifetime expired? So, you go through this stuff, and it gets frustrating. And so it's one of my annoying moments of the week, because when you're trying to do something that you've always done, right? You go in, you edit like you always do, you log into this like you always do, and then it just doesn't seem to be working. That happened with a bunch of different things this morning. But God is great. We navigate through it. There's nothing to complain about, right? We can make jokes about it. We can talk about it in the annoying moment of the week. It's annoying, but I always find a way around it. I feel like sometimes I'm Chevy Chase from Christmas Vacation, and I just find a way to turn the lights on the dang Christmas tree. Like that's how it feels sometimes. So much of lights tangled around me, and I'm just trying to figure out how to get this Christmas tree to turn on, and hope that there's not a squirrel inside of the tree. So, with that being said, my second annoying moment of the week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt this week, my other scoop for the annoying moment of the week this week has to do with what big business is doing to all of us Americans. I can't speak for people all over the world because I don't know. But for those of us here in America, I can tell you that I'm frustrated this week in some things that I've seen, right? Our gas prices have risen. Our gas here in Syracuse was somewhere around like $1.99, maybe $2. You were able to find it pretty cheap. And then all of a sudden it's $2.35, $2.55, something like that. And, you see that here at the beginning of the year, and it's frustrating, right? And then your insurance company, your car insurance, your home insurance and whatnot, whatever you got, insurance rises. and we look at that and say, okay, what's the increase? And then that gets frustrating because we see maybe it's, a $2 increase, a $7 increase. Well, in some cases, it's a $30 increase a month. And maybe you're a good driver. So that thing comes into play. And then you look at your cable, and your cable bill went up. And you call them and you ask them why, and what do they say? Well, the price of cable is more expensive. Why? Did the wiring get better? No. Did the internet get better? No, it's working pretty much the same. Or it's worse. And I had a phone call, and there was some great people on the customer service line. I want to give them credit for that, because they're not responsible for the person at the head of the company raising everybody's prices just because they're greedy. But the people in customer service, I said, the quality of my internet went down, and you're charging me more. I said, as a business owner, if I'm going to charge more, then my quality needs to go up. What I'm doing needs to go up. I need to expand what I'm doing, right? Because if you're going to raise prices, you got to give a reason. Well, so many of these big business places, they don't give you a reason why they raise prices. They just do it. And they don't really care what you think. They just do it. And, I'm the one that asks questions. I don't yell, but I ask very kindly, like, if my internet isn't that great, why are you raising raising my price in general? Number 2, are you giving me something more? No. Okay. So, what are we doing here? And that creates frustration. And so I think, it's got to be an annoying moment of the week this week, because we're paying higher gas prices. We're paying higher internet prices. Some of us are paying higher insurance prices. And the question is, why? In the middle of a pandemic, when people have all lost money, lost jobs, relocated, trying to make ends meet, got kids at home, kids going to school, trying to figure that out, but, not preparing to be a stay-at-home parent, but having to be a stay-at-home parent and also have a career, trying to figure out what our career is going to be, navigating through the snow and the frozen tundra that some of us have. We got all this stuff going on, and in that moment is when the companies decide, what? I think we're going to raise your prices on oil. I think we're going to raise the prices on, everything that's going on. And when you ask people these questions, they don't have a good answer for you. And to me, that's frustrating. You got to give a reason. Because, as someone who has a voice in that moment is when the companies decide, what? I think wrong we're going to raise your prices. Gas companies are charging us more right now. I think it's wrong that we are dealing with higher internet prices because they're telling us the internet got better or the internet got higher. Or there's these hidden fees of a wireless charge because you're not wired into the internet. So if you connect your internet into the wall, you'll save $5. To me, it's just crazy. And, going through insurance stuff and all of that, and I've gone through that, your price goes up. But when you're paying $70 for car insurance and within 2, 3, 4 years, it's $120 something bucks, you're paying a $50 increase, which is at least $500 increase per year, if not $600 per year, depending on how you pay it. You really have to sit down and ask yourself, why do the companies do this? Why is that okay? And if enough of us ask questions, can we change it? Because it is frustrating. It's not like I just feel for me, I feel for everybody. Because some of us can afford the increase. Some of us can't. But at the end of the day, should we have to pay it whether or not we can afford it? And if prices keep going up, especially in the middle, and you know what? And I said that to one of the people in customer service. I actually said it to a couple of the people in customer service. I said, the sad thing about it to me is that you're doing this to us now. And I said, you would think that somebody would have a heart in the middle of a pandemic. But I guess some people don't. And that's the thing that kind of gets me. Is, as a business owner, I'm not going to the businesses I'm working with going, hey, I lost money like everybody else this year. You're all going to pay going through insurance stuff and all of that. And $10 more a month, $100 more a month. Your price goes up. That kind of that's not good business. But in the case of as a Central New York, when we don't have many places to go when it comes I'm working with going, the internet, I lost money like everybody else this year. You're all going to pay a $100 increase. If you threaten $10 more a month, $100 more a month, shrug their shoulders. You don't do that. That's not good business. And when in the case, I look at my life in New York, I don't have many. I don't have places to go when it comes to the internet. So I don't have that that running around and stuff to do and getting the kids to school and this that whatever. If you threaten to leave, they kind of I'm a single person with Lily,
And
with my
when
dog.
I look at
and
my
she's
life
low
and I'm like,
maintenance. She's like the greatest in the world.
I don't have a wife, I don't have kids.
And I look
so
at
I
myself
don't have
and
that
go,
like
okay,
run, that running
I don't
around
have
and
the
stuff
time,
to do and getting
running
the
a
kids to
business,
school
doing
and
this,
this,
that,
that,
and the
whatever.
other. I don't
have
have the time to sit
I'm
and spend hours
a
shopping
single
this car insurance and looking at this and looking at the rates
Lily,
and doing
with
all
my
that stuff.
dog,
Like I gotta
And she's
build
low
time
maintenance.
to
She's
do
like
that.
the greatest in the world.
I can only imagine what it's
And
like to have a
I
wife
look at
or
myself
a husband
and go,
or kids.
okay,
And have
I
to
don't
be
have the time
shopping your
running a business,
insurance,
doing
this, that, and the other.
I don't have the
Especially
time
during
to
a
sit and
pandemic.
spend hours shopping this car insurance.
I guess
and
what
looking
I'm
at this
saying
and
in the
looking at
annoying
the
moment
rates
of the
and
week,
doing all
because
that
we
stuff.
always
Like I gotta
spin it
build
back to a
time to
positive
do
at the
that.
end is
I can only
to the
imagine what it's
businesses
like
out there,
to
to
have
the
a
people
wife
working
or
for
a
those
husband or
businesses,
kids,
to
and
hopefully
have to
somebody
be
that's listening
shopping your
somewhere.
insurance and this, that, and the
Could
other.
you have a heart
especially during a pandemic
in the middle of a pandemic?
So I guess
you
what
have
I'm
a
saying
heart
in the annoying moment of the week, because
you
we always
couldn't have
spin
it
it to
any
a
other
spin it
time
back to a positive
in
at the end
history,
is
just
to the businesses out there,
have
to the
one.
people working
Could
for
you
those
have
businesses,
it now?
to hopefully somebody
when
that's
people
listening
really
somewhere,
don't have the extra $2,
could you
$5,
have a heart
$30, $50
in
to
the middle
spend?
of a pandemic? Could you have a
You know,
heart?
you want to sit on a
if you
congressional
couldn't have
floor
it
and
any
tell us
other
why
time
gas prices are
in
more.
history,
At the end of the day,
just because you should have one.
the single mom
could you
is going,
have it
yeah,
now. When people really don't have,
I can't go from $2.35 to $2.45
$30,
forever.
$50 to
It's
spend.
going to have to go back closer to $2.
You
and
want
I
to sit on a
here
congressional
Wake Up Call,
floor and
I mean,
tell
the
us
show
why
is called
gas
Wake Up
prices
Call,
are
yes,
more.
because it's in the
At
morning.
the end of
but
the day,
more importantly, it's called
the
Wake Up
single
Call
mom
because
is
that's
going,
what I
yeah,
hope for the show to be. For you, for me, for
I
everybody.
can't go from
I
$2.35
learn when
to
I'm on the show,
$2.45 forever,
and I hope
it's
you do
It's going to
too.
have to go back closer
And
to 2. And I think
as a
here on Wake
business
Up Call,
owner,
I mean, the show is called Wake Up
I
Call,
can't
yes, because
see
it's in the morning.
quality
but
going
more importantly,
down
it's called Wake Up Call because
and
that's
prices
what I
going
hope
up.
for the show to be.
And at
for
the
you,
same
for
time,
me,
if
for
you're going to
everybody.
raise your prices
I
at any
learn when I'm
time
on the
from
show,
2020 to
and I hope
2021,
you do too.
really not a good time
And
to do it. Really not a good time
as
to do
a
it.
business owner,
And when you don't have a
I
reason,
can't see quality going
I remember
down
during 2020,
prices
I
going
called
up.
this one company,
and at the
that
same
handles-
time, if you're going to
handles
raise your
something for my
prices at any
business,
time from
and
2020
they
to
raised
2021, really not a good time to
and
do
the
it.
price raised by almost
Really not a
it was
good
a
time to do it.
$99 increase.
And when you don't
a
have
year.
a reason,
And I called the guy
you know,
and I talked
I
to him and I
remember
said, "Why did you
during
raise it?" He
2020,
goes,
I called
"Oh,
this
you know,
one
we just
company
did."
that
He's
handles,
like, "You know, the
handles
rates
something for my
changed and we
business,
just did." And I said, "Well,
and
what's
they
your
raised
reasoning
prices.
for it? Did you give me anything extra?"
And
He
the
goes,
price
"No."
raised by
I
almost
was like, "So
it was
there's
a
no reason for raising the
$99
price."
increase.
And he goes,
a
"Hold
year.
on." I was like,
And
"You know,
I called the
really,
guy
I said,
and I
in the middle
talked
of
to him and I
in
said,
the middle of
"Why did you
of a
raise it?" He
pandemic,
goes,
I think that
"Oh,
maybe
you know,
this
we
is
just
not
did."
the right time to do it.
He's like, you
And
know,
if
the
you don't
rates
have a reason
changed and
for
we
it,
just
like,
did. And I said,
I
"Well,
don't
what's
really
your reasoning
understand it."
for it?"
He says,
Did
"Hold
you
on."
give me
He talks
anything
to a
extra? He goes,
supervisor. He
"No."
comes back. He goes,
I
"I'm
was
going
like,
to credit
so
you back."
there's
the
no reason
$99.
for raising the price.
And
he
I
goes,
said,
"Hold
"Thank
on."
you."
I was like,
I mean,
you know,
he genuinely
I said
didn't
in the
have a
middle
reason for raising the price.
of a
He's like,
pandemic,
"We just
I
did
think
it.
that maybe
Just
this is not
because
the right
we
time
thought
to
we
do
could.
it.
That
And
was
if you
it.
don't have a
We just
reason
wanted
for
to.
it, like, I don't really understand it.
But I think about
He
all
says,
the people
"Hold on."
that
He
didn't
talks to a
call that
supervisor. He
have
comes back. He goes,
automatic.
"I'm going to credit you back the $99."
You know, they have that automatic. It just takes
And I
it
said,
out of your
"Thank you."
account, debits it out.
I mean, he genuinely
I think
didn't
about all
have
those
a reason
people
for raising the
that
price.
spent an extra $99.
He's like, "We just did it."
Didn't call.
Just
Maybe
because
didn't even
we
see it
thought
on
we
their
could.
statement
That was it. We just wanted to.
because we
But I
have
think
to
about
pay
all the
attention to
people that
everything.
didn't
And I know I
call
might
that
be
have
saying something to somebody
automatic-
like, "Dan, of course we do."
You know,
but we
they have that
genuinely
automatic,
have
it
to
just
pay
takes it
attention
out
to
of your
everything.
account, debits it
You got to
out.
pay attention to
I
every
think about
bill
all
you
those
pay.
people.
You
Spend
got
an
to look
extra
at it every single
$99,
time.
Didn't
But
call. Maybe didn't
again,
even see it on their
don't
statement.
have kids, don't have a wife,
Because
you know, I'm not.
We have to pay attention to everything.
I have more
And I know I
time
might be saying something to somebody
than-
like, "Dan,
than-
of course we
than
do."
people that
But
have
we
kids and all
genuinely
that
have
stuff,
to
you
pay
know,
attention
and
to
I
everything.
still
You got to pay attention
am
to every
running
bill
through
you
and
pay.
doing this and that.
You gotta
Maybe I'm
look
on my
at it
way to
every
a
single
game or I
time.
got something
But
going on or I'm
again,
hopping on a plane.
Don't have kids.
And here I am,
Don't have a wife.
not even looking
You
at
know,
this bill. I'm
not,
just paying it, right? But now I have to look
more
at
time
everything.
than
And if
people
you
that
don't
have
pay
kids and
attention,
all
I was
that
told
stuff,
by
you
a
know,
cable
and I
company in
still
Syracuse,
am running
if
through
you
and
don't
doing
pay
this and
attention
that.
to your
Maybe I'm
bill,
on my way to
we
a
will
game or
continue
I
to
got
raise
something
it
going on
every
or
year
I'm
and we'll
hopping on
cap
a plane.
everybody out at $200.
And
here I am, but you'll
not
never
even
get
looking at this
anything
bill.
more.
I'm just
we'll
paying
never
it,
add
right?
anything
But now
to it.
I have
but
to
we will
look at
continue to raise prices unless you call.
And if
and
you
my
don't pay
grandmother was
attention, I was
alive
told
at
by
that
a cable
time, and I
company
thought,
in
she's
Syracuse,
91 years old.
if you don't pay attention to your bill,
And they
we
did
will
raise
continue
it.
to raise it every year. And
My
we'll
mom
cap
looked at her
everybody
bill one
out at
time, it was
$200,
$158
but you'll never get
bucks,
anything more.
$157
We'll never
something
add
like
anything
that.
to it, but we will
And
continue
my
to
mom
raise
called the
prices
company
unless you call.
and said, "Why did
And my
you raise-"
grandmother was alive at
like,
that
what are you
time,
giving her?
and
They're
I
like,
thought,
"Oh,
she's
she has
91
HBO and
years old.
Showtime," and she goes, "My mother does not watch that."
And
She
they
doesn't
did
have
raise
that.
it.
My grandma watched 3
My
channels.
mom looked at her bill one
She
time, it was
watched any Syracuse
158
game,
bucks,
like
157
literally
bucks,
any basketball or
something like that.
football game. So
And
she watched whatever
my mom
channel that
called
was
the
on.
company
She
and
watched.
said, "Why did you raise
What,
Like,
TNT,
what are you giving her? They're
'cause
like,
she would watch,
oh,
like,
she has
everybody
HBO and
loves Raymond and
Showtime,
stuff
and
like
she goes,
that.
my mother does not
And then,
watch
I'm sorry,
that. She
4
doesn't
channels.
have that.
She'd watch
my grandma
Lifetime,
watched
and she
3
would
channels.
watch, like, The Price is
She'd
Right.
watch any Syracuse game.
So,
like, literally, any
she had
basketball
4
or football
channels,
game. So she
and
watched
they
whatever
had
channel that
raised
was
her.
on. She watched...
And my mom called and said, like, what are you
'cause she
doing?
would watch, like, everybody
and
loves Raymond
they had
and
raised her
stuff
to
like that.
$150,
And then, I'm
put
sorry,
her in a
4 channels.
package,
She'd
gave
watch
her
Lifetime,
HBO and all
and
the
she would
stuff.
watch,
And if
like,
my
The
mom
Price
never
is
called,
Right.
my grandma's not going to call.
So-
She's 91 years old.
She had 4
So,
channels, and they had
I guess what
raised
I'm
her.
saying in conclusion to the annoying moment of the week
And my
is
mom called and said, like, what are you doing?
just do right by other
and
people.
they had raised her to $150, put her in a package,
And think about what
gave
it's
her
like,
HBO
because
and all this stuff. And if
God
my mom
makes
never
things
called,
come
my
full
grandma's not going
circle.
to call.
If
She's
you do
91
people
years
dirty
old.
and you don't
So-
fix it, I think it
I guess
eventually
what I'm
comes back
saying
to
in
you. If you do
conclusion
people
to the
right,
annoying moment of the week is...
I think it eventually comes back to you.
Just do right by other people.
And that's not me wishing bad on anybody. It's just the fact
And
of the
think
matter.
about
you,
what
you
it's
get
like,
in the world
because
what you put out. Right?
God
They
makes
tell you
things
never to
come
spit
full
into the
circle.
wind.
If you do people
And
dirty and you don't fix it,
I just
think
find
it eventually
really
comes
hard
back
to
to you.
believe
If you
that
do people
businesses
right,
can sleep at night doing this
I
stuff.
think it eventually comes back to you.
We deserve better than that.
And that's not me wishing
And just
bad on
because you
anybody.
can,
It's just the
doesn't
fact
mean
of the
you
matter.
should.
You get in the
And
world
in
what
the middle
you
of
put
a
out, right? They tell you
pandemic,
never to spit
you would
into the
think
wind.
that everybody would just be
And
happy with what they have and happy to be open
I just
and happy
find
to
it
people,
really hard
happy
to
people are
believe
paying
that
their
businesses
bills.
can sleep at night doing this stuff.
But dealing with
We deserve
increases
better
right
than that.
now, it's
And
the
just
wrong
because
thing
you
to do.
can doesn't
And we
mean
deserve
you
better
should.
than that. Whether
And
we
in the
can
middle
afford
of
it or not, we deserve
pandemic,
better than
you
that.
would think that everybody would just be happy with what
So
they have.
Jim
and happy
Jerome
to be
said,
open
"Never
and
mind
happy
all
to
these
people-
phony
ha-
insurance
happy
guys.
people
We
are
just
paying
call
their
Danny
bills.
Conley to get it done right." There you
But
go.
dealing with increases
Shout out
right
to
now,
a Syracuse football
it's the
alum.
wrong
All right.
thing to do.
So Dan
and
Conley,
we deserve
I
better
like
than
that.
Whether we can afford it or
We
not,
appreciate
deserve
what
better
you're
than
doing
that.
out there, Dan. If you're doing things for us and trying to find a
So
better
Jim
way, I
Jerome
appreciate
said, "Never
that
mind
very
all
much
these
so."
phony insurance guys."
So that
we
being
just
said,
called
we'll
Danny
take a step
Conley to
aside
get
for
it
a
done
fast
right.
break.
There
This
you go.
has been the annoying moment
Shout
of the week,
out
proudly
to a
presented by
Syracuse
Carvel
football
DeWitt
alum. All
on
right,
4322
so Dan
East Genesee
Conley,
Street
I like
in DeWitt,
that.
New York. It is what
We
happy
appreciate
tastes
what
like,
you're
and it
doing
is
out
the
there, Dan.
exclusive
If you're
home of the
doing
Orange
things for us and
Dream,
trying to
which
find
is
a
my
better way, I
creation
appreciate
through
that
Wake
very
Up Call.
much so.
I worked with
So
Carvel
that being
DeWitt
said,
to
we'll
create
take a
the
step
Orange
aside for a
Dream, which
fast
is
break.
kind
This
of
has been the
it's
annoying
like
moment of the
having
week,
an
proudly
orange
presented by Carvel DeWitt
creamsicle in a
on
shake
4322
form or a
East
sundae
Genesee
form.
Street in
And
DeWitt,
so you
New
can
York.
get it
It is
either
what
way,
happy
shake
tastes
or
like, and
sundae.
it
It
is
is the
orange sherbet,
exclusive
vanilla
home of
ice
the
cream,
Orange
whipped
Dream,
cream, which is
rainbow
my
sprinkles
creation
and a
through
cherry.
Wake Up
It's
Call.
like
I
drinking
worked
an
with
orange
Carvel
creamsicle
DeWitt to
or
create
having
the
it
Orange
in
Dream,
sundae
which is
form.
kind of,
And of course, it's an
like
ode to my
having an
hometown
orange
with that
creamsicle
beautiful orange
in a
color.
shake
Get your
form
Orange
or a
Dream
sundae
today
form.
exclusively.
And so you can get
at
it either
Carvel
way,
DeWitt.
shake
We'll
or
be back
sundae
after
with
this
orange
fast break
sherbet, vanilla
with
ice
a
cream,
conversation
whipped
you will not
cream,
want to miss, which
rainbow sprinkles,
ironically
and a
is
cherry.
about
It's like
conversation.
drinking an orange
How one
creamsicle or
conversation,
having it in sundae form. And
how
of
the
course,
power
it's
of
an
a
ode to my
conversation
hometown with
can
that
change a
beautiful
life.
orange color. Get
And
your
how you
Orange
really
Dream
need to
today
understand
exclusively
sometimes and take a
at
step
Carvel
back
DeWitt. We'll be back after
when
this
you have
fast
a
break
conversation
with
with
a
somebody on a
conversation
couch
you will not want to
that can
miss,
change
which
your life.
ironically is about conversations. How one conversation, how the power of a conversation can change a life.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
Cafe Cabal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafecabal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Cabal needs. Cafe Cabal, coffee for the soul.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt is where you're listening. You're watching on Facebook Live on facebook.com/live-now-dt. You're also watching on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. So plenty of places to watch and to listen to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time inside of these beautiful, wonderful Cafe Kubal studios. And I thank you for being here every single Friday. You know that you can set it, remember it, and it'll be here for you. And at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time weekly on Fridays, we have LEAD, which is the acronym Learn, Evolve, Ad-lib, and Deliver, where Juanita Ward, my co-host, and I speak on different topics each week. We spotlight a different topic that has to do with learning, evolving, ad-libbing, and then delivering from there. Proudly presented by Chick-fil-A Cicero on 7916 Brewerton Rd in Cicero, New York. And you know, folks, that when it comes to Chick-fil-A Cicero, they are so ingrained in our community. It might as well be a local business. The way that they help the community, the way they reach out, and everything that they do for the kids in the community that they employ, and have there as their employees, to the way that they treat us when we go through the drive-thru, and everything that they've done, including during the pandemic of having a giving cart outside where they essentially said that you could either take something or leave something for a family in need. So what Chick-fil-A Cicero has done, led by Jim Rusakowski, is to go above and beyond and to constantly be reaching out to the community. And Juanita and I, in connection with Chick-fil-A Cicero, would reach out to the community every single week and try to uplift you, inspire you, give you some faith and positivity, and also make you laugh and appreciate what you have, hopefully. So, with that being said, let me bring in my sister, my family member, and somebody I appreciate so very much, Miss Juanita Ward. Juanita, how you doing today?
Hey, Dan. How's it going?
I'm doing well. And, Juanita, we have a topic that is near and dear to you and I because we know the value of having them with one another. How a conversation, one chance encounter, one moment in time can be life-changing. I'm going to just open the door for you on this one and let you go off of that and what that means to you.
Dan, to me, it's incredible. We have conversations all the time, and you can never take a conversation for granted, especially when you have a connection, especially when you sit down with someone and you're really feeling the vibe, you're really feeling the connection. I just believe that it's once in a lifetime that you get that opportunity to connect with another person across from you. When you know that I call it a divine connection, but when you know that the mood and the flow of the conversation is so genuine and is so real, that to me means more than anything. And conversation is so important. Communicating with someone is so important, and especially with people that really have your best interest at heart. It's important to be genuine, it's important to be authentic, and it's important to be real. Most importantly, it's important to talk to somebody in conversation that would allow you to be who you are. That's not going to judge you for who you are. That's just going to allow you to just simply be who you are. That's extremely valuable.
Yeah, and in going off of that, you said a lot there, being in a conversation where, it can be life-changing and life-altering, because these chance encounters that we have, we forget that everything in life, the relationships we have today, the ones we'll have tomorrow, they all start with one conversation, one encounter, right? You and I had a conversation, we had an encounter that created a bond, that created a friendship that, made you and I, brother and sister, an extension of family. There's conversations that do different things, and they create different things with people. Conversations are how you meet your husband. They're how you meet your wife. They're how you meet your best friend. They're how you get a job. They're how you find a house. The beauty of it, and the thing about it is, I speak for a living, so I love bringing people, together. But what I can really say, and wanting I know you can speak on this as well as a coach and as someone who is a motivational speaker. People look at us and say, okay, well, they speak for a living, so they obviously know what to say. But you know this, and I know this. We speak from the heart. We don't know what to say. We speak from our heart. It's not like we have a script. I don't have a shot sheet anywhere in the studio. And when you and I meet people, I think what's really cool is, yes, you and I speak for a living, but people know the difference between us talking to them on a level where they're really special to us versus, just having a conversation with anybody. And I think, what's really cool about the way that you and I choose to live our lives is, I think the people that are having genuine conversations with us that are very real, they know that.
Dan, that's definitely true. It's being authentic. It's just being who you are. It's just one of those things where you're just like, you know what? It's coming from my heart. And when you talk with someone, you're not talking with them to make them go, oh man, you know a lot. I've never spoken with people so that they can give me the praises.
Yeah.
I've never just had a conversation with people so that they can say, oh my gosh, you're very intellectual. Like, you are really, really smart. You're very knowledgeable. I can really care less about those accomplishments. And the reason why I say that is because I don't want you to see me when we have these conversations. I want you to see my heart. I want you to see the love of Jesus Christ. I want you to see who you are as a person.
Yeah.
The best thing that I can do, the best thing that my words can do, is to water a seed inside of you and get you to see who you are. I live by that. I don't live by, okay, well, look at me, look what I do, look what I'm about, look how I can, put these words together and make them sound very inspirational and encouraging. No, you hit the nail on the head. Nobody goes around, well, we don't go around saying, okay, well, here's a cue card, and what we're going to do is we're going to stick to the same skit every single time. That's not true, because every single person's situation and every single person's opportunity is not the same.
Right.
And so when we talk to people and when we're having conversation, I really want to get to your heart. I really want to know who you are. I really want to know what makes you tick. I really want to know what motivates you. I really want to know what encourages you to be the best that you can be. I want to know why you feel like you can't do something, why you feel like you've lost this opportunity, why you feel like the world has completely shut you out. I want to know your why, to why you feel like you can't. And then I want to be able to help you identify why you can. Because oftentimes in a conversation, there is no, you cannot stick to a specific thing. You can't do that. If you're being genuine and real and really authentic about the conversation, people should be able to see your heart through the way you talk. People should be able to see the love of Jesus Christ through the way you talk, because ultimately that's our job, is to glorify God.
Yeah.
And you and I are not ashamed of that. There's other people in this world that are not ashamed to glorify God and talk about that. And if we're not doing that, then we have to redirect ourselves. The beauty of having a good conversation is if you two people can sit down and connect in the middle of that conversation and have some common grounds. And when you see both eyebrows raise up and go, yeah, now you know that you've really touched that person in a different way versus just having a general conversation. Now you're actually having a relatable conversation, which as that relatable conversation leads into something else. You said it so beautifully. Through the words, you can meet your husband, you can meet your wife, you can meet your best friend, you can meet, you can get an opportunity, a job opportunity, through words of just showing who you really are. Nowadays, we have so many people, we talked about this, Dan, before, we have so many people that are living the life for the gram, that are living the life for the book. Instagram, Facebook. They're living the life for that, right? They're stunting. They're putting on shades that are not theirs. They're standing beside cars that are not theirs. They're on boats that's not theirs. They're putting on mink coats that's not theirs. The reality is, can a person be able to take off the layers as you're talking to them? Can they really see and peel back and see your heart? Or are they seeing all of these layers that you've built up to try to make yourself look good and make yourself look like you're bigger than what you really are? The truth is, people want real. And when you sit down and have a conversation and somebody go, oh my gosh, I've never experienced this before, that's when you know you've touched them in a different way.
Yeah, and Juanita speaking here inside a lead, learn, evolve, ad-lib, and deliver. We do every Friday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, proudly presented by Chick-fil-A Cicero. Like you said, when somebody's like, wow, I never felt that before. Or I don't remember having a conversation like this before. Like, that stuck out. What I think is so beautiful for me is I'm so, this is what I do. I talk for a living, and I love the fact that as much as this is what I do and this is my job, when I'm sitting on a couch with somebody and I'm getting to know somebody, like, I get so excited. And when certain people hit me a certain way, because I vibe people, I feel people, I sense people. And, I think for me, what's really cool is over 2,000 people have been on the show. I get to meet people all the time. But when somebody hits me a different way, that really locks me in. Like, I just know people in my life that when I talk to them, it's different. And if you can be different to me, 35 years into my life and everything that I've gotten to do, like, if you're different in a good way, like, you got my attention and you're there. And that's the beauty of it, because, it's like being yourself. That's all you got to be. But Juanita, I don't know. That's not like, I'm trying to put it in words, but it's a feeling. It's this feeling when you're sitting on a couch and somebody just is themselves and you're yourself, and then boom, time goes by, and then it's like, it's almost like you black out and you wake up and you're like, how did this all happen? Like, that was so moving. That was so different. That was so easy. That was so nice. I could just be me. There's something to be said about that. And I think what I'm trying to say is the people that sit on the couch that have the meaningful conversations with me, they know who they are. And I feel like that's got to be the same for you, based on, just how you treat people and our similarities. Is like, the people that hit us a certain way, they know that they hit us that way, and vice versa.
Most certainly. And they're the ones that always come back and say, I remember that conversation. I remember what we talked about. 3, 4, 5 years from now, I remember that conversation. I remember having a conversation, Dan, with a young, I call her a young lady, but obviously she was an older lady. And she was actually working at a convenience store, and she was the cashier.
Yeah.
And she was having so much, and I believe I told this story before. She was having so much going on in her life. And I mean, golly, I'm in there just to buy a Sprite and a bag of chips. I mean, I wasn't in there to actually have a conversation in a convenience store with anybody. I mean, I'm an open person. I love people, but I just really wanted the bag of chips, and I wanted the Sprite so that I could just get in the car and go, But I felt compelled to speak with this lady. And, as I make my way, there's a guy standing in front of me. And as I'm waiting there, ready to put my stuff on the counter so that she could, ring me up, I see behind the register that she has a Bible. And now I'm extremely intrigued. And so I'm like, wow, well, I want to ask a question. I want to ask her, what is she doing with that weapon back there? And, I'm ready for it. I'm pumped up. I'm waiting for the guy to leave. I felt like he was taking entirely too long because I was extremely anxious now, because I see that she has this weapon behind the the register, and I'm like, man, I can't wait to get up there and talk to her about this. And I'm like, the guy's taking forever. Can he hurry up? I'm like really getting antsy now, right? And so 5 minutes later, I mean, he didn't get anything but a bag of Skittles. And I'm like, well, why do you need to take that long just to ring up Skittles? Yeah. So anyway, he rings up Skittles, and I make it up there to the register, and I find out that he was actually talking with her, you know, about something. I think it was something dealing with his wife or whatever. And so he's a frequent into the store. And so she was speaking with him. And once I really calmed down and noticed that, you know, they were actually having a deep conversation, you know, I was like, okay, bye-bye, see you later. Just speaking to him, because I'm like, oh my God, I'm telling this guy to hurry up so that I can get up there and talk to the lady too. Right? Yeah. And so he goes, oh, I'm so sorry for taking so long. You know, I just wanted to talk to, you know, the lady, her name or whatever. And, you know, we just wanted to catch up. He goes, but I left some money on the table so that you can ring up your meal as well. I said, wow, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. It was the most awesome thing. And I'm in the back going, oh, just hurry up. Skittles, whatever. And I end up getting a blessing on top of that. So I finally get up to the register, talk to the lady, and, you know, I asked her, I said, you know, what are you doing with that Bible back there behind the cashier and behind the register? And she said, well, oh, baby, she said, I don't leave home without this. She said, I bring my Bible. I call it my weapon. I bring my weapon everywhere I go. I don't leave home without it. I said, well, that's an awesome thing. I said, you know, that Bible is, for me, represents basic information before leaving earth. So what type of information are you trying to get from that? And she said, oh, honey, you have no idea. The Bible gives me nothing but wisdom, gives me joy, gives me strength. I've been going through so much turmoil in my life for the past 14, 15 years. She said, this is all I've had to lean on. She said, the conversation that I have with God through the word. So I ended up leaving with like a box of chicken. This is honest truth. I ended up leaving with a box of chicken because I believe the lady next to us was closing. And so, you know, they didn't have anything to do with the food. And I told him, I said, well, don't throw all that away. I can take it up the street to, you know, someone that needs it, you know, one of the homeless, someone that needs it. And she said, well, you could do that. I said, yes. I said, I just make conversation with them as well because I want to share the love of Jesus Christ with them. And so she goes on and, you know, and so before we leave, I give her a wristband that says, I will succeed. Well, let me fast forward. 5 years later, which was last year, actually, I saw this lady again. And I'm going, oh my gosh, this time I saw her at a different store. I did not expect to see this lady. Now, we're talking about the town that I was in versus the town that I was in. It's about a 15-20 minute drive between the two, okay? I didn't expect that she was going to be at this store 15-20 minutes away from the other store. Caught me by surprise because I was like, wait, what are you doing over here? I thought you was over at this store. And she's like, oh, I moved over here. And, you know, actually, I was about to get off before you walked in. And I said, well, that is so interesting. And she had the bracelet on. And she told me, she said, I'm so glad you walked in because I've never taken this bracelet off. This bracelet has gotten me through so many trials and tribulation. And I said, well, I see that it's fading a little bit. She says, yes. She said, I've been trying to reach out to you and get another one. I could never find out where you were. And I said, well, don't worry about it. Let me go out to my vehicle and I'll get you a bracelet. Go out to the vehicle. And then I'm telling you, it blessed her so much so. It blessed me to know that she still had the bracelet on. And everything that she was going through, she stayed on the course of I will succeed. And she said that was the only thing that was helping her to keep fighting, to keep going on. Had no idea the lady was battling cancer. Had no idea that she was battling a son that was dying. Had no idea that she had just buried the mom. I mean, it was unbelievable, the stuff that she had told me back to back to back to back to back. And my question that I asked her was, how did you make it? And she said, because I believe that I will succeed. And the thing that she held it fast to was the Bible that she never leaves home. I'm saying to myself, had it not been for that conversation, me standing there telling the guy in front of me to hurry up with the Skittles so that I could get up and talk to the lady, I ended up getting triple blessed. He ended up buying my drink, my Sprite, and my chips. She ended up giving me a bucket of chicken. I ended up seeing her 5 years later. She blessed me. to let me know that she still had the bracelet. One conversation made a humongous impact.
That coming here from Juanita Ward. And, I'm sitting here listening to that, Juanita, and it's like we have those examples. We have those moments in our life where things just change the game. And something just sticks out to you and it stays with you forever. I remember one of my friends that we were on the college program together at Walt Disney World. And I actually just told this story. And she had moved back to New Orleans, and her and I hadn't talked in a really, really long time. But right before she left the college program, I had my sweatshirt. I had an old sweatshirt, Walt Disney World one, and it was my second favorite sweatshirt because my first one's Marywood University. It's my blue and white one from my alma mater. And I gave her my sweatshirt. And, it was like she was my trainer there when we were there together. Kind person, good person. I had no idea what she went through with different stuff. Like with Katrina, it flooded her parents, her home on the first floor and this, that, whatever. And so we talked years later. And I was like, do you still have my sweatshirt? And she goes, of course. She said, what kind of question is that? And, you think about those moments and those things that kind of stick out to you and mean something to you. And what kind of, and things like that where, you build these relationships and you build these bonds and they stay with you. Like my mom, I wear bracelets every day. And it's this thin silver one, and it looks like nothing. It's just like a very thin silver bracelet. But inside of the bracelet, the engraving says, peace comes from within. And I always wear it on my wrist. And my mom got it for me. And we were out in Cooperstown. My mom took me last summer to Cooperstown. I had a really tough, and my mom just reminded me about this. I forgot about it because God is great. And, I went through a tough time. And my mom, spent the majority of the summer, just, going on trips, driving around places, getting my mind off of stuff, building me up, and helping me, be the best that I can be. And I'm wearing this bracelet, and I still have it on today. And I never took it off from when she gave it to me. And, it's just, and it says peace comes from within. And I know what it says, and nobody else does. I mean, now people do. But, nobody knows it when I'm wearing it. And it's something that has so much meaning to me, and it goes such a long way, and you think about those things that just kind of transcend time, the bracelet that you had, I will succeed, the bracelet that I have, peace comes from within, and, these blessings, these conversations, these chance encounters, these moments, and how they bring us back. And, there's something to be said about, when you're sitting on a couch and you just get that feeling when you're, on a road trip. And, I just went on I never knew in my life if I was going to go on a Syracuse to Florida road trip. I never knew if I was going to do it. I thought about it and I was like, man, I heard it's 23 hours. That's crazy. I don't mind driving, but that's just nuts. And then my buddy Evan, and it was the coolest thing in the world because I had some stuff that was bugging me, and I was stressed out, and he calls me up, and you talk about God's timing, and I don't think anything's a coincidence. I call them God incidences. And he called me up and he was like, hey buddy, how are you? I said, I'm good. How are you? He said, I'm good. And he said, hey, I have a quick question. I said, yeah. He said, would you be okay if I came in on Monday and I came to see you? And, he's like, I got a job. It's down in Florida. I need to get my stuff because he was living up in Syracuse. And he was like, I got to come get my stuff from my storage unit. What do you think about me coming up to see you? And I was like, dude, it's awesome. That's amazing. It was perfect timing. And he was like, yeah, I'm either going to leave on Tuesday or Wednesday. And I said, well, do you want me to drive down with you? And he said, oh man, he goes, you would do that? I was like, yeah, man, without question. I was like, you're my best friend. And he was like, yeah, let's talk about it. Let's figure it out. And so he came in and we packed up the car and this and that. And I told him, I said, I want to do it. I could do some stuff with my show. I can, put some specials on. I planned everything out in advance in case, he wanted me to come with him. And when all was said and done, we went on this road trip and we started on Wednesday. We finished on Friday. And when we start, and his original plan was to go from Syracuse to Richmond, Virginia. There's a coffee shop he wanted to go to, stuff he wanted to do. Then he wanted to go to Savannah, Georgia, and eventually end up, where he's going to be in Florida. And so I was like, okay, well, I could fly back home. And so he was like, what can we do? Let's look at flights. How would this work? And I said to him, we tried to figure out a bunch of different plans. And I was like, Ev, what works for you? Like, what do you want to do? Like, what's the trip you were hoping for? And I was like, let's just do that trip. And you talk about how incredible God is. He got to have the exact trip that he wanted to have as far as like where he went and how he got there. He did everything on time, if not early. And I got to do my comic book trails in Richmond, Virginia, and in Mechanicsville, Virginia. We got to stop and eat and go to his coffee shop and do all this stuff. But the thing that I love so very much is it was something on my bucket list that I didn't really know if it was ever going to happen, if I was ever going to drive down to Florida. And without question, when he said it, I was like, yeah. And I didn't think for a second, I'm testing our friendship by putting us in a car. They say if you want to test any relationship, put yourself in a car with somebody for a long amount of time. I never in a million years thought they would have changed us. And we're close. We're brothers. And it made us closer. We talked about things. We worked things out. We gave each other advice. We laughed the whole time. We sang. We, did all kinds of stuff. And it's like such a beautiful thing. And I look back on it and I'm like, we're always going to have that moment. Like, we're always going to have that time. And, so people don't ever underestimate the beauty of a conversation, the beauty of a road trip, the beauty of sitting on a couch with somebody, the beauty of standing in line and, checking out and saying hello to somebody. If I told you how I met people, I mean, it's uncanny how you meet people, how you meet your wife, how you meet your husband, how you meet your best friend, how, the first time I met Evan, I was going down to see my friend Rudy, and I thought, I'm going to be down here for 3 days. I want to spend time with Rudy. I know he knows a lot of people, but I kind of just want, him and I selfishly to have time together because I don't get to see him a lot. And he comes to the airport with me, and he's got this guy in the back seat. And I'm like, who the heck is this guy taking up my time with Rudy? And now, all these years later, 12 years later, he's my best friend. This guy that was sitting in the back seat taking up my time, he's my best friend, who now sits in my front seat and takes up a bunch of my time because I want him to. So, I think conversations are the things, it's lifeblood. The conversation I have with you, the people that I can go to and I can talk to about something that really matters to me, it's so beautiful. The intertwining that God does, the careful knitting that he does. And I do. It's like, yeah, I talk for a living, but if you really, really know who I am, it's the conversation. If you think the ones are good on the air, the ones off the air are so much better because the time that you choose to spend with people and what you do is so beautiful. And if I sit on a couch with you and I talk to you, if I take a road trip with you, like, it's purposeful because I do not spend my time where I don't want to. And it's funny, Juanita, because I think the people that know me really know this to be true. My way of showing you I don't want to be around you is not talking or being very short. So because I don't like to be rude, I want to be mean, but I'm very purposeful with my time. And as much as I always have something to do, if I'm on your couch or you're on my couch, there's a reason for that. If I'm in your car, you're in my car, there's a reason for that. And there's just so much beauty in it. When you and I talk for 2 hours, I never think, oh my gosh, I didn't do this, I didn't do that. I think I always get off the phone going, I feel like Juanita just put God's Spirit right here. I feel like I had another host from church. And that's the beauty of what a conversation can do. It uplifts you, it creates, and when it comes from people like you and I, it's always to build and never to destroy, which I think is a beautiful thing. And you never know what you're building sometimes until you do it. But conversations, they're the things that you take with you because they're the lifeblood that ends up creating the relationships that you have.
It's something so special about that, man. I just love the fact that you guys, have made so many memories. When you have your kids, you can sit back and you can tell your kids, about their uncle and, an unplanned trip that you guys was like, hey, man, let's just go for it. Let's just do it. And the memories that you're cherished from that moment, are something that will never, ever, ever be taken for granted. That's memories for you. That's memories for him. And it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. And so conversations are very important. We have to always remember that. How we respond in those conversations, how we perceive, how we receive those conversations are always important, very important, because you can take things from the conversation one or two ways. You can take good vibes or you can take bad vibes. How do you plan on leaving a conversation? What do you plan on leaving the conversation with? My father says it like this, says every moment is a teachable moment. And in having conversations, what are you learning? What are you teaching? How are you growing? And I absolutely enjoy sitting down with absolute, if you will, strangers, just brand new people, and really getting to know them, really getting to understand them, and then helping them understand them. Most importantly, getting to know new people. I mean, you can meet your husband, you can meet your wife, you can meet your best friend. You and your best friend can look back on the road trip and say, man, do you remember when we stopped at this place? Man, that happened, this happened. And then there's a humongous laugh for about 30 minutes on one place that you stopped at. And that to me is memorable. That to me will be cherished for the rest of your life. So never take one small conversation for granted. That conversation are seeds that was planted. And from those seeds that was planted, whether it was on the couch, whether it was in the chair, whether it was in a car, whether it was at a coffee shop, whether it was at a grocery store, whether it was at church, never take conversations for granted. Never take those seeds that was planted for granted. Those seeds that was planted, if you felt a good vibe from it, water the seed, feed the seed, and most importantly, let your faith grow from the seed. It's a big, big, big deal to let your faith grow from the seed. Your faith has to grow from the seed of the conversations. When you have those good vibe conversations, when they're authentic, when they're real, when you can feel something and it touches you, it makes you feel like, oh my goodness, this was just right. You just feel a difference. That's when you know that this conversation was completely unforeseen. This conversation was automatically one of the best conversations that you've ever had. Don't take for granted people that you talk to. Don't take for granted the opportunities that you have there. Most important, don't take for granted the memories that's being shared. Value each and every opportunity. Value each and every conversation. Value each and every moment, because those moments are seeds that are going to give life for the future. Value those conversations. I'm telling you, when Dan and I are off the air, we have some comical conversations. We have real conversations, in-depth conversations. Now, I tell Dan, like, Dan, listen, I'm just going to be your sister. I'm just going to keep it real with you.
Yeah.
And he values that. I value him keeping it real with me. I value, the way we talk, the way we identify, the way we understand each other. Nothing could make us thicker. We may not be the same blood, but at the end of the day, without a shadow of a doubt, you're my brother.
Yeah.
And I love you like you're my brother, because you give me good advice. I give you good advice. You give me good, positive enforcement. You give me good, positive feedback. You give me sound wisdom when I need it. And that's what makes a good recipe for a great friend, for a great brother. I couldn't ask for anything less. And I encourage other people, I encourage someone that's listening to this to not take the conversations that you've had this week for granted, to not take the conversations that you can think back on and go, man, that really touched me. That conversation was meant at that particular time, at that specific location. Don't take for granted when you have a really good opportunity. Cherish that moment. And then let your faith grow off of it. Just like the lady told me, I've been waiting to meet you again, to see you again, so that I can get that bracelet. Because of that conversation, I've really, really, really dug in. One conversation at a gas station. Seriously, I was just going in to get a Sprite and some chips. And the guy in front of me was holding up the line with Skittles. But that one conversation, that time that I had to wait just to talk to that lady, has infected her life. And I use the word infected as in, has really touched her life, has really made a huge impression in her life for the rest of her life.
Yeah.
Now that to me means a whole lot.
Yeah, and I love you too. I mean, you are my sister, and you do tell it like it is, and you tell me the truth, and that's why I appreciate it. And it means a lot. I've realized that I bury the lead when I talk to you. So Juanita can attest to the fact that, she's going to put me in timeout because I don't tell her like the stuff, I guess, that I need to tell.
That is so true, Daniel. That's true.
That I bury the lead. She's like, what? Now, why you didn't tell me that, a half an hour ago? But yeah, I mean, it's
okay. To my defense, if we're being real, because Dan, you will wait until the very end of the conversation to give the valid points.
Yeah.
And it's like, Dan, seriously, you should have just told me that at the beginning.
It's the Ryan Seacrest in me. I gotta get you. I gotta get everybody ready to the end.
Come on.
I gotta go. Because I do it. It's basically like it's like I'm Ryan Seacrest, and this is American Idol. You have to have that break. You gotta have that long pause. And I think that's the thing is that and I don't even mean to do it. But I'll be on the phone with Juanita for like an hour and 40 minutes, something like that. And then I'll be like,
2 hours, 3 hours.
And I'll be like, Juanita, this happened. And she'd be like, what? Like, why did you tell me that? And she's like, you got me thinking about this, this, and this. If I knew that, then this is here, and that's there, and there we go, and we're done. We could have been eating Chick-fil-A and moving on. But, it's like, I don't mean to bury the lead, but I know that, like, when I come to you, I'm going to get the truth. And that's the thing that I appreciate. And, because I know that it's going to be there. And you can't shy away from that. People, like when hey, if I call my friend, if I call my sister, if I call my mom, my dad, my brother, whatever, like if I call them, they're going to tell me what I don't want to hear. Like that's your gut telling you need to hear it. Because there's times where I knew something and I'm like, well, I can't call Juanita. She's going to say this. And it's like, yeah, Dan, but think about if you had called her in advance, you wouldn't have dealt with half of that stuff that you were dealing with. So, I think it's important that when your gut tells you something that you listen to it. And, I'm going to do a better job at getting Juanita the information hot off the presses instead of when it's cold and it's in the corner somewhere. So
thank you. I would really appreciate that because I could have been eating my number 2 from Chick-fil-A, my spicy chicken with my lemonade with light ice.
Yeah.
Could have been dipping my fries in the Chick-fil-A sauce. And you completely just waited until the end to tell me the main points. You set the whole story up, and I'm like, come on, Dan. No, it's not even Dan at this point. It is Daniel.
Yeah, that's when I know that's when I'm in trouble. That's when I'm in trouble. Daniel or Daniel if I heard Daniel Michael, I was hiding somewhere in the house from my mom. I never got Daniel Michael Justin, I don't think. Maybe once or twice. But if I got Daniel Michael, I was hiding in that house to the best of my ability. And my mom could find me anywhere. But yeah, if I heard Daniel Michael, but I knew with Juanita, a conversation we had this week, she goes, Daniel, I'm going to tell you. And I was like, oh, no, man, I'm in trouble. And yeah, you also told me you're going to put me in timeout. So, when your sister calls you by your government name, you're in trouble. So that's how it is.
Oh man, I love you, man.
I love you
but
too.
But in all sincerity, I'm telling you, it's nothing like having a really good conversation.
Yeah.
When I was overseas, it was those phone calls, it was those Skype calls, it was Uvu at the time as well. Those calls meant so much. So we cherish those moments, we cherish those opportunities. If you've had someone that you've been able to sit down and talk with in the past week, in the past month, past 3, 4, 5 years, I pray that you guys are still linked together with those conversations. However, I also pray that, if the person isn't here, that you still cherish those conversations, because I can tell you from experience that, my grandmother's no longer here on this earth, but the words, the conversations that we've had throughout the years still rings in my ears, in my mind, in my heart, every single day. Conversations that my aunt and my uncles and I have had still rings in my ear, in my heart, every single day. I mean, I'm gone from high school. My coaches are still here. They're still living. But I can always remember the conversations that we've had and the conversations that that we've spoken that really touched me in a really encouraging way. I still remember those conversations. Cherish those moments. Cherish those moments.
Yeah.
Because one day somebody's gonna need what was imparted into you. And we're just a vessel. We have to be ready to give it out. I always say it, I will succeed. It's a declaration, it's a decree. Whatever you declare, you'll have. Whatever you decree, you'll have. You have to believe it, you have to speak it. Don't let a day go by without knowing who you are and why you do what you do. When you figure out your why, you'll figure out your purpose. When you figure out your purpose, you'll understand what your calling is. Believe it, I will succeed. It's a declaration, it's a decree. Dan, I love you, man. I love you, man.
I love you too, sis. And that's the thing. I mean, you're awesome, and I appreciate you, and I promise you I'm not going to bury the lead no more. I didn't do it on purpose, but I won't do it. But yeah, our conversations are awesome, and I would like to think the people that have those conversations with me know who they are and know what it is, because there's certain things that hit you a certain way, and they make you call your friends up and say, "Hey, man, guess what?" So there's something to be said about them, and there's beauty in it. And I find that the conversations that have gone the farthest with me are the ones that are roped around God, that are just all about two people that believe and what that does and what that means. So God is at the center. Life is great. And life should be that triangle, right? It should be God and you and the other person. So it's all good. It's all right. And, conversations change lives. Conversations are, they got a lot to them. So there's beauty in it. There's peace in it. There's love in it. This is Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-lib, and Deliver. And, remember those conversations and those people and those relationships that help you to learn, that help you to evolve, that help you to know how to ad-lib and then deliver on promises that you kept to yourself and to others. And that's all brought to you by Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, New York. That coming once again from Juanita Ward and myself, Dan Tortora, here inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios with Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-lib, and Deliver. And I want to thank Juanita for being a part of the show, speaking on how one conversation can change a life and just what that means, and to value the conversations you have, be it with someone that could be your wife or husband someday, with your best friend, with your mom, your dad. Juanita brought up her grandmother, who she is very close to, and myself, my G-mama. So, and I say is instead of was, because I believe that when someone passes away, they're in heaven, and I believe that they're still very much alive in some way, shape, or form. They're with us, so that's why I say is. And so I mean, this conversation with Juanita about conversations, it should open some eyes, and it definitely warms my heart, and opens up mine. So we'll take a step aside for a fast break. We'll come back and bring you the top dog of the week, and then we'll hop into our conversation with Sonny Spera right after this, where sports meets life. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville beats. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
It would be a pity if you don't shop at Honda City.
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, where you're listening. You're watching on Facebook Live on facebook.com/livenowdt, and of course on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. It is time for us to announce the top dog of the week, but I cannot do that without my sweet girl Lily. So if I'm going to announce the top dog, I need her help on that. Miss Lily, the top dog of the week. Thank you, sweetheart, for giving me that. The top dog of the week for this week, proudly brought to you by Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Kampground Dog Boarding, is really, really great. And I'm so excited to have the opportunity to bring this to you, brought to you by Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Kampground Dog Boarding. It means the world to me to be able to bring this in. So with that being said, my top dog of the week, top dogs it actually really is, it has got to go to everybody that's playing a sport, navigating through the fact that things have been up and down and around the corner. So my top dogs of the week are those of you professionally, in high school, collegiately, whatever it may be, that are playing sports and navigating through coronavirus and pandemic times, trying to stay safe, obviously navigating through the fact that games get canceled and postponed and moved and switched last minute. So I want to shout out all the coaches and all the players and all the families and all of the administration and everybody involved that are trying to navigate through a season that has been anything but easy, but we're just happy to have one. So to those of you that helped to make the season possible, then you are my top dogs. For those of you that are playing in those seasons, you're my top dogs. For those of you coaching those seasons, you are my top dogs. So shout out to everybody everywhere in the beautiful world of sports that's trying to find a way to make it work and make it last and help it to happen. So shout out to my top dogs of the week, those of you that are taking the time to try and navigate through all of this and being willing to navigate through schedules that constantly change and things that, just don't seem... Everything's fluid this year when it comes to, sports and whatnot. So I do want to honor all of our top dogs, those of you that are just looking to make it work, right? You got to take your kids here, then take them there, then practice change, and this moved up, then this moved back. So shout out to the parents and the guardians. Shout out to the teachers that are trying to figure things out and make sure that when these teams have to travel and different things are going on, that they got what they need, as well as the student body as a whole has what they need when school is in session, not in session, online learning, virtual stuff, as well as on-site. Shout out to the administrators and the people making these decisions, to the governors and to the mayors and people that are hopefully looking out for our families and wanting us to find a way back. And, to those that are coaching and playing these games that are navigating through all the new protocols and wearing their masks and making sure that they're socially distanced and trying to follow the right protocol. So I give it up to so many top dogs that are helping to make these seasons possible, as hard as it is, as confusing as it is, and as frustrating as it can be, and as fluid as it has to be. A shout out to each and every single one of you. With that being said, we'll take a step aside for a fast break. When we come back, Sonny Spera will be joining us inside of MonPawsPopcorn.com's What's Poppin'. Shout out to my top dogs of the week. Once again, everybody trying to make sports happen around the country and the world. Brought to you by K9 Camp Dog Daycare and K9 Kampground Dog Boarding. Giving you that honor every single Friday and giving you a place to bring your dog every single day of the week for short and long-term care. Short-term care at the daycare, long-term care at the Kampground Dog Boarding. So a place that you could truly trust and appreciate and know that they will take care of your furry loving friend as well as you do when you're out of town or wherever it may be. Maybe you're remodeling the house, maybe you're homeschooling, just trying to figure stuff out and you need a little bit of help. You can get it from K9 Camp Dog Daycare and K9 Kampground Dog Boarding, both of East Syracuse, right off of Bridge Street. We'll be back after this fast break with Sonny Spera.
Avicoli's Restaurant, located right at the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road, is proud to be your local neighbor, growing with you for over 20 years. We're open 7 days a week for lunch, dinner, and drinks. For takeout, delivery, or catering, call us at 315-622-5100. When you order online and use our promo code AVS10, you will save 10% on your online purchase at myavicolis.com. And make sure to join us monthly for our live on-site broadcasts centered around Liverpool athletics. Avicoli's, your local, trusted neighbor right at the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road.
Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to K9 Kampground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see K9 Kampground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call K9 Kampground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013.
Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9Kampground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and Kampground spelled with a K.com. K9Kampground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to K9 Campground.
Trapper's Pizza Pub, located on 5950 Butternut Drive in East Syracuse. Right off of Bridge Street is your local community supporter right around the corner. Join us on site at Trapper's Pizza Pub for our live monthly broadcast supporting Central New York student athletes and their sports programs. Call 315-438-4444 for more information. And find us on Facebook and Instagram at Trapper's Pizza Pub. Trapper's Pizza Pub, your local community supporter right around the corner.
Cafe Cabal Mobile Cafe brings the cafe experience to you. We'll roll out to your neighborhood or office, ready to serve our locally crafted espresso bar to our loyal patrons. Inquire at cafecabal.com. Cafe Cabal, coffee for the soul.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, located on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, is home to over 40 flavors with more than 200 flavors in their total wheelhouse. Sky's the limit for this sweet and savory Central New York company. Keep it local at your parties, fundraisers, wedding showers, baby showers, and more by calling 315-450-MA-PA. That's 315-450-6272 for popcorn bars with custom flavors and colors at your upcoming event. Make sure to visit them on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. And for more information, go to maandpazsnacks.com. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you? The Millhouse Market, located on 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York, is worth the drive every time. Make sure you make your way out to the Millhouse Market. Every Tuesday through Sunday, they are open and available for you. Tuesday through Sunday in their drive-up window. And on the weekends, the Bistro Indoor Restaurant is open. Plus, throughout the week, they have their general store with local products from local companies. They are so many different things, all wrapped up into one place, ingrained in our community and ingrained in our taste buds, bringing you those sandwiches that are named after the families that helped to settle today's Pulaski. From the steak and blue to the bee sting pizza to the meatball sandwich, there's so many different things that I love to have. The M&M cookies, the maple brownies, the sun-dried tomato mozzarella bread. Oh my gosh, the mozzarella as I would call it. But fantastic food. It is absolutely positively worth the drive every time. There's nothing like the Millhouse Market. That's why it's worth going out to Pulaski to find it. And if you're in Pulaski, it's worth going down the road to 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York. Worth the drive every time. Make sure you download the app so you can get everything right there, including contactless pay, and make it very easy for yourself. So, with that being said, we are back here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and back inside of the Cafe Cabal studios. I'm actually trying to see if I can bring in my guy Sonny Spera on video today. And if we could bring him here on video, we're going to do exactly that and see if we can get him to come on to the video portion of things. And we typically have him on audio. We're going to work to see if we could bring Sonny Spera, Syracuse Orange Basketball alum and a good friend of mine. We're going to see if we could bring him on to video today to see if we can hang out with him in the studios in that respect. And if we can, we'll do exactly that, and we'll have him here with us where sports truly meets life. So we're looking to bring in Mr. Spera and see if we can have him join us here on the video side of things. And if we can, that'll be great. And we'll be able to bring him in. If not, we'll keep him here on audio. But willing to do something different in the moment. That's why we're live. You know, do something up, change it up on the live broadcast here of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. So we'll see if we can get Sonny Spera to hang out with us here inside of the Cafe Kubal studios on video and do a little picture-in-picture thing with Mr. Spera. But in the meantime, I do want to thank Lee. I want to thank Chick-fil-A Cicero for Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver. I want to thank Juanita Ward for the conversation about conversations. I want to thank Carvel DeWitt for the annoying moment of the week, as well as the Orange Dream, my version of like having a creamsicle in a sundae or shake form. And a big shout out to Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Kampground Dog Boarding for bringing us the top dog of the week, which this week I'm honoring everyone that is working together to make the seasons possible for all the sports that are out there, trying to get things done in the healthiest way, in the safest way. I'm just happy that we get to get back into it, whether it's little kids or teenagers or in college or professional sports. I'm just happy to have people back here. So we're looking to see if we can bring in Mr. Spera here to the broadcast, and if we can, then we'll do exactly that and see if we can get him on here. So you're watching me kind of in two different places right now, which is pretty awesome and pretty fun. But we're going to see if we could bring Sonny in to this broadcast, if we can get him on video. And if we can, then we'll have some fun with that. And if we can't, that's okay. No worries. It's a Friday. It's we're rocking with it. We're rolling with it and doing whatever we can to have some fun here on today's broadcast. So it's definitely a beautiful beautiful Sunday. It's going to be a beautiful Sunday for the championship. It's a beautiful weekend here that's starting here. Very sunny outside, and definitely appreciate the fact that the sun is out, and it's not bad by any stretch of the imagination outside. I know it's cold, I know the snow's out there, but the snow is actually starting to go away. So it's starting to melt a little bit. I'm hearing stuff fall off my house is what I'm trying to say. I'm actually hearing those things happen here. So definitely, listen, when you look outside and you can see blue skies somewhere, it's a beautiful thing. And Sonny said he's ready to join, and now there we go. Now we could bring him on camera. So let's see if we can get Sonny on here. There's the man. Hello, Mr. Spera.
Hey, Dan, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Make it happen, huh?
Yeah, we made it happen. So I'll let everybody know that's watching on video here on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, as well as on Facebook Live on facebook.com/livenowdt. We're going to switch to this video, so just follow us there. And we're doing something new on a Friday. 2021,